Kyrie Irving has been traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Hey guys, Mano here, and before I jump into this video, I just want to ask you guys to give me the HBO special, and that is the Help a Brother Out. You can do that by hitting the subscribe button and leaving a like underneath this video. I'm not one for long intros, so let's jump back into this massive news. Things were going pretty well for the Brooklyn Nets the last couple of weeks. Even with Kevin Durant out for 12 games, they've still managed to garner a record of 32-20. And so the Nets were actually a pretty solid team when they weren't having off-court shenanigans and off-court distractions. But of course, that is a rarity when you have a player like Kyrie Irving on your team. And so with the trade deadline creeping up here, Kyrie Irving shocked everybody and requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. Now, this shocked everyone for a number of reasons. Number one, because Kyrie Irving in the past stated that he would never leave Kevin Durant to go anywhere. We should have known that was a lie because Kyrie Irving said the same thing when he was in Boston. Kyrie Irving said the same thing when he was in Cleveland. So Kyrie Irving has a knack of saying one thing and doing the other. But it also surprised everyone because this was the second time Kyrie Irving had requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. If you remember, he did so way before Kevin Durant did in the summer, and both of their trade requests were put on hold. Now, Kevin Durant requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets to no acquiescence. They didn't budge, they just sat there and held on to him. But they opted not to do that with Kyrie Irving this time around, and I'm going to get into the reason why that is later on in this video. Now, there were speculations as to why Kyrie Irving requested a trade. Like I said, the Brooklyn Nets actually were a pretty solid team. They were looking like they were going to be another contender in the Eastern Conference. They could actually compete with teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, you name them, right? So why would Kyrie Irving want out of a situation like that? Well, one report I read stated that it was because of contract negotiations turning sour and falling through. You have to remember, Kyrie Irving is on the back nine of his current contract. That means he's going to become a free agent in the summer. So he has about 3 months left on this contract. And so his camp and the Brooklyn Nets got together and they were negotiating and trying to hammer out some sort of deal. But as you know, for the tenure that Kyrie Irving has spent with the Brooklyn Nets, he's caused a lot, and I mean a lot of headaches for them during his tenure. And so I guess because of his past behaviors, the Brooklyn Nets weren't negotiating with him with good faith. It was reported by Chris Haynes of Bleacher Report that the Brooklyn Nets offered Kyrie Irving a contract that had a championship clause in it. And this championship clause obviously insulted Kyrie Irving because as soon as he got that offer, all talk stopped. He immediately requested a trade and he refused to play another game for the Brooklyn Nets. It was reported that Kyrie Irving wasn't even willing to take a max offer from the Brooklyn Nets if they had offered one. And on Saturday night, he sat out against the Wizards, and the following morning, Sunday, he was traded. And so the question is, why did the Brooklyn Nets include such a peculiar and unprecedented stipulation within a contract? We've never seen anything like that before. Well, that's again because of what I said. Kyrie Irving has made life a living hell for the Brooklyn Nets organization. For the 4-ish years that he's been with them, he has dissed their previous head coach in Steve Kerr, saying that him and Kevin Durant don't need him. He has missed a lot of games due to problems such as taking the jab, although in his defense, I will say he was vindicated for that. But he also missed the bubble, but he also would take games off without telling the team where he was going, and he also missed half the season due to not getting the jab last season. Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets have had some bad blood. In fact, just a few months ago, him and the owner Joe Tsai were butting head when Joe Tsai came out and condemned Kyrie Irving for what others had perceived as anti-Semitic. He condemned Kyrie on Twitter. Kyrie was fined. So there's been a lot of bad blood there. So when it came time to sit at the table and negotiate and try and hammer out a deal, they weren't looking to give him a favorable deal. They weren't looking to do him any favors. So they tried to give him a bad deal. Now, I understand why the Brooklyn Nets gave him this deal. If you are the Brooklyn Nets and you're paying Kyrie millions and millions of dollars to play basketball, you want his focus on basketball and you want him to be playing basketball at the highest level for you, right? And Kyrie, his past behavior, he hasn't done that. He's been doing everything but doing that. And in the time he's been with you, he doesn't have a lot to show for. When they made the playoffs, they got swept. they were able to get James Harden on your team, and James Harden couldn't handle the dysfunction that Kyrie was causing on the team at the time, and James Harden didn't even last 6 months and had to leave the team. And he's making headlines for all the wrong reasons. So you would want some sort of guaranteed in a contract that says, Kyrie Irving, you know what I mean, you get bonuses for making the NBA Finals. Now, Chris Haynes didn't report on the details of the contract, and although I can understand why the Brooklyn Nets opted to put this bizarre stipulation within this contract, I have to side with Kyrie Irving, and I understand why he opted to ask for a trade. Reason being, it's such an unfair ask to make the finals in order to get paid, because it's never been asked of anyone before. It's never been asked of anyone in the league or anyone in the past. Not even the greats, not even LeBron James is expected to make the finals to get paid. Not even Giannis Antetokounmpo, let alone Kyrie Irving. That's such a unfair, steep stipulation. I could understand if there were some bonuses in Kyrie's contract for making the playoffs, for, you know what I mean, going into the run, but the finals, that is a lot to ask. And number two is the precedence this type of contract would set for future NBA contracts. It would set NBA players back. The way it is right now, the NBA is among the league with the most guaranteed amount of money paid out to players, right? And the NBA players want to keep it that way. Unlike the NFL, in the NFL, players don't get a lot of guaranteed money. They get paid by game. And it's bad for them because football is a high contact sport and they're prone to get injured. So they may get injured while playing a game and miss out on potential future paychecks. That's not the case in the NBA. You get your money up front, you get your money guaranteed, and it's locked in. In the NFL, the reason it's the way that it is because NFL owners want to hedge their bets against injury-prone players. They know these players are most likely going to get hurt. I mean, they're hitting each other all day. And so because of that, I understand and side with Kyrie Irving's decision to not take the deal and request a trade. And so he's been traded to the Dallas Mavericks and will be playing with Luka Doncic for the rest of the season. Now, this is huge, right? Why? Because everyone thought that the Lakers were going to get Kyrie Irving. Everyone thought that Lakers were going to go all out to try and get Kyrie Irving. The last time Kyrie Irving wanted to trade, the Lakers were at the forefront of trade talks. LeBron wants Kyrie. I think Kyrie wants to play with LeBron, right? But they didn't land him. Now, this is a big gamble for the Dallas Mavericks because they traded away 2 starters and I think a draft pick for Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving could potentially end up being a 4-month rental. It's February. The NBA season, I mean, including the playoffs, ends in June. That's 4 months away. And Kyrie Irving becomes a free agent in June and could sign with anyone else. There was a scenario on Twitter that I read that I hadn't thought about, that Kyrie Irving could play out the rest of the season with the Mavericks, then decide to sign with the Lakers. And it would work out for him and the Lakers. The Lakers wouldn't have to give up those precious draft picks that they're holding on to, that they could have gave to the Brooklyn Nets for Kyrie Irving, because it's thought that maybe they can get him in the offseason. I didn't think about that. That makes a lot of sense though, right? And that depends on how the Dallas Mavericks perform in the playoffs this year. But then also this opens up a great number of questions, like what's going to happen to Kevin Durant? Kevin Durant's now left on an island by himself, right? Does Kevin Durant stay with the Brooklyn Nets? Teams are going to be aggressive in trying to get Kevin Durant, right? I think one of these teams are the Golden State Warriors. If I'm the Golden State Warriors, I'm making an aggressive push to try and get Kevin Durant on my team, especially with the way that the Warriors have been struggling this year. To have Kevin Durant return, I think he would be welcomed by their fan base. And even though he had problems with Draymond Green, this is probably going to be his last year with the Warriors. I try to get him on my team as soon as possible, especially with the aging Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. I'm trying to win at least 1 or 2 more championships. If you want a place that talks about all the potentials that could happen within the NBA, then this is the channel for you. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like under this video. I appreciate you guys sticking it to the end of the video. So until next time, kids.